In just over a month, we have the NFL trade deadline. And I don't know what Brad is going to do, but I feel like the Detroit Lions are going to be buyers at this year's trade deadline. We were sellers 1 year. We were buyers 2 other years. This is year 5 of Brad and Dan. What year were we not buyers or sellers at the trade deadline? This is all from the top of the head, so I could be wrong, but put it in the comments below without looking. What year were the Detroit Lions neither buyers or sellers at the trade deadline out of the 4 years that Brad and Dan have been GM and coach? So you have a 25% chance to get it right. The Detroit Lions, however, are probably going to have to be a combination of both this year. Both of our starting cornerbacks have gone down, and the Detroit Lions are going to have to make a move. Now, I will never get off of my edge rusher position. It will not change. This year, I threw that out the window. Once we got rid of Zadarius Smith, I was done. I am not going to get off that horse ever until we get a person. I don't care what attrition we go through. I'm going to stay on that because we've done everything else. We've done O-line, we've done linebacker, we've done secondary in abundance, and now we just keep rinse and repeat those same things. So that's just me. Don't try to get me off because I'm staying on it, right? I'm sitting on that horse, all right? I'm leaving here with something, okay? I see a big tray. I'm leaving here with something. Let me know if you get the reference in the comments below. So that's me, but that doesn't mean that the Detroit Lions can't use other pieces. And what we're going to do starting today, a new series that we're going to come out with is Fire Sale. And today we're going to do the New Orleans Saints. We're going to take a look at the teams at the bottom of the league, and we'll do as many as we can as I have time to do, and we'll kind of cut off at where I think that teams can kind of turn it around and people that will not be available. Or people that will be available from those teams. So today we're going to do the New Orleans Saints. And one of the reasons that we're going to start with them, well, one of the reasons is Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan was a guy that came up in my live stream yesterday. Apparently, Kay Adams told him that she kind of wants him to go to Detroit. And then we have that. The other reason is the connection between Dan Campbell and the New Orleans Saints. So without further ado, man, let's start the first video in the series, man. Fire Sale, New Orleans Saints. I don't know if I'm going to do it like that every single time. This is all off the dome, man. So let's take a look at the teams that we'll be looking at, and I'll try to do like one team a day or maybe multiple teams, depending on what the news is coming out. I'll also be gone. I'll be on the road going to Kansas City on Friday, so I'll try to have some content for Friday and Saturday, so maybe I'll pre-record these videos as I'm on the road, and I hope all you guys will be praying for me because I'm going to need it. I almost fell asleep at the wheel last time I went to Kansas City, but shout out to my wife's car. All right, so we've got, these are teams that I think that are going to wind up having fire sales. And I can't help but laugh at this team right here. Geno Smith is cheeks. You also have, Cam Ward said it the best, said, we cheeks, okay? Then you have Max Crosby, who I'm going to bring him up a little later because I just got to mess with him. But the fact that he's there, so I'm enjoying every little ounce of this. So right now, this is the draft order pretty much. And we've got the New York Jets, the Vegas Raiders, the Baltimore Ravens, the Miami Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns, the Tennessee Titans, the New Orleans Saints, the New York Giants, and I'm going to stop here with the Cincinnati Bengals because the Texans now have won 2 in a row. The Bengals have lost 3 in a row, and I don't think they're going to win 4 or 5 games. If the Bengals don't do something, if they don't go try to get Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston or anything like that, now that Jackson Dart is the starter, and that's, solidified, even though they lost yesterday, I think that you got to bring, you have to, if the Cincinnati Bengals are going to try to save their season, then they got to make a move, right? And if you're not going to give us Trey, I don't care what y'all do after that. The only reason I want y'all to keep losing is for Trey, but Brad ain't going to do that. That's not what he's going to do. So we're going to stop there, and each week these might change. So maybe if I have time, I'll pick. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are going to do anything. I have to look into the Jets, the Raiders, the Miami Dolphins. There is a person on the Miami Dolphins. There is a person on the Cleveland Browns. Haven't really looked. I think Arden Key is still on the Tennessee Titans. So, and then, of course, today we're going to do the Saints. We've talked about the Bengals, and we will talk about the Bengals is literally Trey Hendrickson. That's it. Their secondary is pretty much toast. Their defense is toast, even though you couldn't really tell in week 5 against the Lions. And then you have the New York Giants, and there's a couple guys from there that we can talk about, one in particular. All right? So right now, let's focus on the New Orleans Saints. Now, again, I told you guys that Kay Adams the former host of Good Morning Football, I guess she asked Cam, like, or alluded to Cam playing for the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions, yes, they still need an edge. Ali McNeil has to come back, yes. Is it going to change things? Probably. Muhammad, 3.5, hasn't got a sack in 2 games. Almost got one yesterday, can't deny, right? So you take that 7.5 sack game away the 7 sack game away where Muhammad got 2, I think he got 2, and then he got the 1. He either got 2, 2.5, or something like that. And then the few against Caleb or whatever it was, then, I mean, he's average. And Muhammad is average. He's average. His top year is 6 sacks. Now, he has 12 games to go. So if he already got 3.5. So you would assume he's going to have his career high. And to be honest with you, if he can give us 9, 10, then okay, then he's the guy. If you can give us right at the cusp, if you can because Aiden is now tied for second. He's top 5 in getting to the quarterback. All right. And that's with some taken away. So if you can give us, if Aiden is going to wind up with double digits, I think he's going to have a career high, which is more than 11.5. I think he's going to have at least 15 plus. If Muhammad can give us 8, 9, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Okay, then I'll be okay with that. If not, then we need to find somebody else. Okay. So with that being the case, let's take a look at the player of this video here. The focal point of today's videos is Cam Jordan, because again, you have the connection between Dan Campbell and the New Orleans Saints. You have the fact that the Saints are, even though they won yesterday, they're trending fire sale. And the fact that this guy's been playing a long time does not have a ring. All right, let's take a look at Cam Jordan. All right, he will undoubtedly be the oldest person on the Detroit Lions if he was to be traded. 6'4", 36 years old. What's in my mind right now is the person, his teammate saying he smelled like hot dog water, and his mama, and the whole Tide video or whatever it was that pops up when I think about him. Drafted in 2011. So he is part of that, say it with me, he is part of that Bruce Irvin draft class. Bruce Irvin was also drafted in 2011 and is just a fraction older than Cam Jordan. So don't put it past the Detroit Lions to do something like this, right? We've already expressed why. And I'll show you even more. Right now has played in all 5 games and have 2.5 sacks. All right, he's on a very bad football team. The first thing that pops out about Cam Jordan is this dude has never missed wait a minute. Yes, he has. He missed 1 game in 2021 and 1 game. I think 2021 was the first year of the 16-game season. So I don't know if this was due to injury or just because he's been in the league forever, right? We're talking about year 15, 16 right now. And he's only missed a maximum of 2 games in his entire career. That's insane. That is insane, man. His career year in sacks was 2019 with 15.5. His worst year was, it appears to be his rookie season. He had 1. And now is currently coming off a 2-sack 2023, a 4-sack 2024, and a 2.5-sack year thus far. Cam Jordan is a guy that I can see Brad Holmes trading for. Now, he doesn't fit when it comes to injury. Never injured, pretty much. I mean, at that, missing 2 games in a 15, 16-year career, to me, that's never injured. So that, you check that box off, right? But then you have, what do you have working for you? The age. Dude is 36 years old right there. As a matter of fact, turned 36 in July. So he's going to be 36 for the rest of the season. Fits right what the Detroit Lions try to do. Don't be mad, bro. I just be stating the facts. And this is real talk. Bruce Irvin, 35. He was 35. Tyson Alu. I think, no, Bruce Irvin was 36. Tyson Alu was 35 back in 2023. And it's funny because Bruce Irvin's first game, he got a sack against the Saints, back when Derek Carr was quarterbacking the New Orleans Saints. So doesn't have injury history working for him, but has the connection between Brad and Dan, or Dan and the team, and also have age as well. Okay. Now, what would it cost? What do we have to get Cam Sutton? So it appears Cam Jordan signed a 1-year deal worth basically $6 million with the New Orleans Saints, including a $4.8 million signing bonus. The whole $6 million was guaranteed, and an average salary of the $6 million. In 2025, Jordan will earn a base salary of $1.2 and a signing bonus of $4.7, while carrying a workout bonus of $3,100 and a cap hit of $9.7, with a dead cap value of $28 million. This right here is the only reason that I could see him not being moved, is the dead cap. That's the only reason. However, if you go down here and you look at this, he has this year, and that's it. The rest of these years are voided. Void years would not follow him to the Detroit Lions. So that is a big deal. So there you have the fact that he could be traded. This is what it would be at the trade deadline, which is a little over than a month from now. And then he would wind up playing for the remainder of the 2025 NFL season. Now, could Cam Jordan be like the next Calais Campbell, where he continues to play well into his late 30s, or will he call it quits? I mean, he has been with the Saints his entire career. I watched a podcast where he did not want to play for anyone else, so you have that. I couldn't imagine you're like at the tail end of your career, and then you potentially are traded. But I will say, he ain't getting nothing. He ain't getting nothing with the Saints. And he just missed out on the ring that Drew Brees led them to getting. All right, so he wasn't part of that team, so he's never won a Super Bowl. And he's been basically, outside of a few good years, on a miserable Saints team. His name came up a lot last year as well, so I don't know. Now, here's what I'll say. What could the Detroit Lions What do we have? We gave up our 3rd round pick to get Isaac Tesla, which it looks like he'll be getting more involved as we go on. What do we have to give in order to get anyone, let alone Cam Jordan? All right, so here are the current draft picks. I don't know if this is exactly correct, but these are the current draft picks. As soon as that ad gets out the way, okay, thank you very much. These are the current draft picks. Now, we know we do not have a 3rd round pick due to the trade from Isaac Tesla. We have our 1st round pick, our 2nd round pick, no 3rd, our 4th, a 5th, a 6th, 2 6th, and a 7th. I don't know if that's exactly correct, though. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but if we traded for Cam Jordan, honestly, we could probably get a Saints a 6th round pick. The dude is on the end of his career. Either way it goes, we either have 2 or 3 6th round picks. We can give them a 6th round pick. I think we parted with a 6th round pick for Zadarius Smith, or it could have been the 7th. But either way it goes, we can part with one of these picks for Cam Jordan. I'm going to tell you what, if that was the case, then I would take that. I mean, look, at this point, it is what it is. I'm not going to get the guy that I want. I want one of those needle mover dudes. I mean, you're talking about, I think the most realistic option, like the guy that I would probably want right now, that I think would be the best of the bunch that would potentially be available, would be Trey Hendrickson. He would be the guy that I would want. I understand you're talking about a guy that cost 2 or 3 times more. At that point, you're talking about Trey's getting at least $15 million that the Detroit Lions would have to pay. It doesn't look like Trayvon Walker is going to be available. It doesn't look like a lot of other players. So right now, that's the guy I would want. Like, if you're going to go get somebody, go get that guy. But at the same time, if you're talking about like Trey, I don't know, man, because neither one of them are permanent solutions, because we're not going to pay Trey, and Cam is neither one of them are under contract for next year, right? So you probably, knowing Brad, he's going to the lesser of two evils. Like, this is one thing that if Cam doesn't mind being moved and the Saints are ready to move on from him, or are willing to at least let him be free. Just like Calais Campbell. Remember, Calais Campbell last year was with the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Dolphins said, hey, if we're out of playoff contention, we will release you and let you go to a team. The problem with that is, after the trade deadline, you have to pass through waivers. So could, and this just popped in my head, could the New Orleans Saints release Cam Jordan so that he can go, because he's a solidified, vested veteran, he can pick the team he wants to go to, and that team is the Detroit Lions. That's very intriguing. So that would be up to the Saints. But back to the trade. Would you trade for Cam Jordan? I mean, I'd be like, whatever. I mean, just throw somebody. We're at the point now, losing both our cornerbacks, where we're gonna have to like kitchen sink this thing, where we're gonna have to take what we can get. Like I said, I'm gonna have to take what I can get. And Cam is still a guy who needs to be accounted for. So that's my thing. Would I do it? Yes. Is he my first choice? No. Could he be released if something but they're probably not going, I don't know, because DeAndre Hopkins had he had a very similar, very high, almost $30 million cap hit, and he was released from the Arizona Cardinals. So it's very possible that the Saints, trying to do good by Cam, he's been there 15 years, that maybe they eat that 28 and just like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I mean, either way, they're going to eat it, but maybe they do what's right by him and be like, yo, let me walk. Let me pick the team I want and stuff like that. But even if you have to trade for him, would you trade for Cam Jordan? So let me know what you think down in the comments below. And now the answer to at least I think it's the answer to my trivia question is what year did the Detroit Lions they were not buyers or sellers at the trade deadline? You ready? The first year, 2021, we did not make a move at the trade deadline, not a seller or a buyer. In 2022, we sold TJ Hawkinson. In 2023, we bought Donovan Peoples-Jones. And in 2024, we bought Zadarius Smith. I think that we might be a combination of both. The Detroit Lions really like their guys. I don't know if there's anybody that especially with the injuries that we're going through, if we'll be sellers. But I think we got to buy something. It's either going to be an edge or a cornerback. There's an outside chance it's an offensive lineman. But, I mean, we've invested a lot into the O-line as well. So, I don't know. We shall see. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And, as always, go Lions.